the Power Pack panel that we have, and I'm so lucky to have all of you here. So once again, from my side, I welcome you. Today, what we will do, we have around 50 minutes, 5 minutes that we have used. We will have 2 rounds of questions, and then we will keep some time for audience to ask us questions where we can respond. The topic today, I think it's very close to our heart, all of us, because we all are either working with women or have worked with women, and have seen that how pivotal role that they can play in bringing about the social impact. I remember my college days, like as a field worker. I think it was 1980 that you just go first time in the village. And then, from that day onwards, I have seen that I never went to Sarpanch first or Mukhya first. I would rather talk to Anganwadi worker or someone from the village, a woman member of the village or elderly person of the women. And I think that made us so welcome in the village. And, this village is where they were seeing the students, come and go. And these were the women who really made us, a kind of settle down in the village in our fieldwork. So since then, that day onwards, I feel that, yes, now we use different jargons, but these women have been playing very important role in bringing about change, the impact, and at the same time, showing that, they are just there. It's not that they are saying that they are making an impact. Just being there, being part of that change, making everyone kind of comfortable. And that's where I see that, even if they are in need, they are welcoming. If they are empowering someone else, they are welcoming and making things comfortable. So in any situation, this is a special group. So I believe that this particular panel, that we have a lot to offer, and it's not that something new, something that we are going to talk about, which we have not experienced. But what we are doing here is that bring different perspective, different way of looking at the same thing, bring it to you so you can identify in your own work that what is being done, and maybe you also share for your organization with each other, which makes sense and which also in turn empowers this impact leaders or say change makers, all the women at grassroots level, be it rural area, semi-urban area or urban area. So with this, without taking much more time, I would like to go to Kanika first. That would you please share your experience at HUL about integrated approach that you have adopted at HUL, and why HUL CSR is focusing on women?
Thank you so much, Sushma ji, and thanks to CSR Box team for having us all here, such an erudite panel. I think it feels amazing to be amongst the women stalwarts who are here. So, I think before I get into HUL, let's take a step back and, NFHS says for the first time in our history as a country, it's 102021100 women is to men, right? And that itself says why women should be in the forefront. There is a lot of change that has happened in the country with the way we've looked at women, girl, child. There's of course a long way to go, but the potential of women generally in the world, we know that for every penny that you invest in a woman or any income that a woman earns, she ends up giving 90% of the woman or the income, investing it back into the community compared to 35% that a man or a male member does. So investing in women and thereby being able to invest in the communities on the whole is a no-brainer for any organization. And at HUL, we are very bullish when it comes to equity as well as the women participation in the workforce within our own organization and obviously outside the organization as well. And the holistic community development initiative of HUL called Prabhat essentially started as a livelihood program where we started with livelihood generation training for women. And very early on in that journey, we realized that, it's not just about giving that income in the hands of the woman, it's also about improving her status within the society so that she can use that income meaningfully. And in the journey, while doing that, a couple of years into it, it is so integrated with the nutrition of the woman, the health of the woman. So for us, Prabhat became an overarching goal where we were looking at programs which are designed for women, and by virtue of that, were having an overall impact in the community. And therefore, the three targeted, interventions that I'm very happy to call out is that our livelihood centers that started with skill development in a very traditional format of skilling for beauty, tailoring, so on and so forth, during the pandemic and in the last 8 years, have very clear cut identification of what can be done in the farm sector to enhance employability or the value chain work, where women are important in the farming community, right? Whenever we think of a farmer, we think of a man, but we all know that women are at the helm of farming, right? So we work a lot on the farming piece of it and the non-farm sector, where especially during the pandemic, we added newer traits like sanitation health entrepreneur or she, where we trained women on how to become deep cleaners, and they were able to take it to the last mile in their communities. Health entrepreneurs, as telemedicine entrepreneurs. So there's a whole lot of work that we do in adding the income in the hands of the woman and by virtue her household. Linked to that, we have a flagship program on nutrition called Prabhat Poshan Saathi, where this cadre of outreach workers is as nutrition buddies go in the rural community and buddy a woman in her nutritional journey, which very early on, again, we realized that if we want to improve the status of a pregnant and lactating woman and therefore children under 5, we can't start the journey when she is pregnant. We have to start it when she's an adolescent girl child and see it all through her life cycle. So therefore, the design of the programs also with quick learnings coming from the community, we have been very agile in strengthening it from a woman-centric lens. And again, say anything that you do with the women ends up having an impact on the community. So therefore, it's the Holistic Community Development Initiative. Okay. And finally, a work on water, which again, we know that be it the agri land or domestic, women go and fetch water in the community, right? The burden of water falls on the woman. So all the work that we have done on water from an agri-water perspective, to which now we are adding domestic
Kanika,
water as well. Yes.
I would just butt in here, because we have to look at the time.
Yes.
You would be able to get some time to talk about the other initiative in second round. Right. Because I would like everyone to get equal time.
Of course, yes. Though that was my last remark.
Right.
That was my closing remark. Yes.
The thing is that, again, let's stick to 3.5 minute time so that, we hear. So Kanika, it gives me such a pleasure that, some of the things that you talked about that, we have done. And I have heard from other people also that they have been doing. And we all are realizing, and I think now it's time that world is realizing that, investing in women comes back with bang, because they again reinvest in their families. So with here, I'm going to go to Dipti. Dipti, congratulations for, doing a little different but wonderful work, because I believe that sports is something that a kind of encompasses and cements all other work also, for women and adolescent girls both. So we would like to hear from you that how, at Go Sports, which key model and approach that you adopt, so that you can empower women in general and for a particular thing. So again, the gender based approach that, if you want to highlight here.
Great. Thank you so much. Lovely to be here. Thank you, Kanika, for setting the context as well from the women's side of it. My world is very different from, the way you all look at impact. But, just 2 months ago, when the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics was happening, I think the entire country came together cheering for our athletes. And if you remember, the first 6 days, we only had our women winning medals, right? And suddenly there were all these memes going on about where are the men and why are the men not winning the medals? But even if you look at the Rio Olympics, you had 2 of our women who actually brought home the medals. And if you go by data and history, the amount of investment that goes into female athletes over the years and the output and outcome that has happened has been tremendous. And when women athletes are supported, I think there's a combination of things that happen. One is obviously they become role models. There are young girls who believe that they can do it. They can play sport, because a lot of times in India, there are very basic reasons of safety, cleanliness, availability of toilets, just basic things not available, and a girl has to stop playing even though they are really, really talented. And as a nation, we've probably lost so many athletes over the years, both male and female, I would say, because there is no transition that happens. So what we do at Go Sports Foundation is really to identify young talent and nurture them to move from an talent to emerging to international, ultimately the Olympics and Paralympics. But women is a very, very critical perspective of how we choose our athletes as well. This time, if you look at the Olympics, we had India's first female fencer. She actually is a temple priest's daughter from Chennai, and she picked up fencing. Never in our life we would have imagined an Indian, competing in fencing. Or, a few years ago at the Olympics, you had Anjum Modgil in shooting. This time in the Paralympics, you had a young 19-year-old girl, Avni, on a wheelchair, who actually went and won the gold first time in shooting. So I think both as a combination of Olympics and Paralympics and women, we focus a lot in terms of how our projects are directed, because when you talk about the larger SDG goals, you are looking into livelihood, gender equality, and a lot of people, I'm using this platform again because a lot of people, especially in the CSR world, believe that what is sport? I mean, there are no impact metrics that are getting met through sport, but I would actually like to say that sport is a vehicle that we're using to really meet all these other objectives. So whether it is livelihood, whether it's equality, whether it's creating role models, I think when you support any sportsman, they also usually come from really humble backgrounds, but that's really not our metrics. We go purely based on talent. So a combination of things. We've been very fortunate to have partners, different partners from the corporate world who believe in nation building through sport. Because when an Indian athlete wins, you're actually putting India on a world map. So the impact is actually worldwide. So, that's the way we have positioned it. And we've seen how these young girls go back to their communities and also help them. So this is just setting context, and I'll come back later in terms of, how we do it and how we go about it.
Thank you so much, Dipti. And there is a raised hand from Ladli Foundation. But what we will request you that, you hold on to your comment or question. We will come back to you during the question answer session. But really, you rightly put it up that, the women and sports and, the change that they bring about in the community. I have seen firsthand, I think we were discussing that, a team in village, the simplest thing that they come together, how they conquer all the odds to reach to where they are, and then don't give up. So I think that is something that we would say that, that's another way, another process of empowering and bringing about lasting sustainable change that we would like to see. Now I would like to reach out to Seema. Seema, at Crompton, how do you see women as primary targets for bringing about a social change and impact, breaking the traditional barriers that they usually face?
Sure. So thank you very much, Sushma, for setting the context and giving this opportunity. So I would like here to make 2 points. The first point is the focus area for Crompton is skill development, that too in an MEP sector, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and second, water conservation. Now, both the sectors are very so-called men-dominated per se. But what we have realized at Crompton, participation of women, not just as a beneficiary from outcome point of view, but only, from designing, planning, execution is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. It's completely, it's an investment. We say that, as Kanika rightly said, women, her role in agri sector is still not recognized, but she is spending her time, her energy, her intelligence also, so that really helping us, designing a project. Like one project we're doing water conservation, the women, the village, she is designing, what Crompton should do as far as the water conservation is concerned. It's not some consultant, helping us designing that. So that's one point. So this is non-negotiable. From banking point of view, also Yes Bank also we have realized, the women per se, it's a banking, it's a bankable lodges. Not because they are like traditional bankers of the family. Not approved by RBI, but they are the bankers traditionally. So it's non-negotiable. The second point that I would like to make, there are challenges, of course, to break the barrier because, but as a corporate donor, what we need to see, we need to make those risky investments. So for example, there are challenges, giving plumbing or electrician training to a women. So that we know that, we have cases, where women are plumber, women are electrician, they are doing they're doing repair job, they can repair a water pump, they can repair, your mixer. So, but we have to invest, and we are making that investment, in those skills. For example, we don't know what the return is going to be, but we know this is the right time to invest. And these are the risky investment only I think corporates can do. At least we can take that, we can take that challenge only. So these are the 2 points I wanted to make here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seema. And, it really makes a sense. And now more so, not only in the rural sector, where, they don't have to depend on, some men coming and doing it. And then, it's the women who are facing this problem. So another woman coming there and helping out. And, there you don't have to worry about odd hours, going, doing, or getting things done when it's convenient to both, and that really makes sense. I have also seen in cities like Ahmedabad and metro cities where women drivers now, and all these e-commerce businesses are using women partners for delivering things. And what you said, that I'm seeing in cities a lot, that someone, a senior citizen, lady senior citizen living alone, or even general senior citizens, they would trust women plumbers or women electricians much more than some stranger men coming in the house, either true technician or posing as a technician. So these are emerging fields, though it's a risky investment, but I think there is a lot more credibility there that it can grow. With that, now would like to come to Anaga. Anaga, you have worn two hats. You have also trained professionals to work in the field, and now you, since so many years, you have been working with SEF and guiding your team and also designing the program, and you have involved in creating the things. How difficult it was for you and for other stakeholders besides women to palate the importance that is given to women now very openly. See, earlier we knew, but we never spelled out, because the situation was that you just do it, don't spell out and make ruffles. But now it's time that we are spelling it out, and we are ready. Women have been prepared to face that challenge, and even the professionals. So how they palate the importance of women that they get in the program, and what strategy that you adopt to deal with, I would say, heartburn on part of other side of the stakeholder group.
Thank you, Sushma, and thanks to all my co-panelists. I think the question that you have posed is very vital, and I would say the answer is going to be equally dynamic. In our experience, I think though the kind of challenges women-centric program face differ from the nature of program, I think one common overarching challenge that we have witnessed, and especially in the initial stage of any program, is lack of trust in technical skills or expertise that women acquire being part of the program. And interestingly, this is seen in both the internal as well as external stakeholders, because both of them are very, very interrelated. And what comes to my mind is basically our cadre of women that we have trained as paravets. We call them Pashu Swasthya Sevikas. This began in Darlaghat in Himachal Pradesh, but now replicated over 9 locations. And these women are the ones who are trained to provide primary and secondary services in animal care to the communities that they reside in. Now, in this case, the primary stakeholders included their own families and especially their spouse. Also the clients in communities seeking animal healthcare services, and the government veterinary department, which became a collaborator in this project with ACF. But very interesting to note was with the time-tested commitment of these women, they were able to have their own influence on these primary stakeholders, which actually influence the secondary stakeholders, which is community as a whole, to be able to take women and their services that they offer very, very seriously. There were 2 parts of your question, and the other one was in terms of strategy. And I would be modest here to say that the journey was absolutely difficult and full of challenges for each one of them to be a women paravet. But I think they themselves devised this strategy to be able to deal with what you call, what you refer to as heartburn. I think as an organization, what ACF continued to do is consistent capacity building in these women, and a very important aspect of holding their hand to be able to support to apply these technical skills, in the field. Because acquiring skills is far more easier, but to be able to make use of them in a day-to-day business is far more challenging. So I think the entire credit goes to each women change maker that we had as part of this project.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anaga. And the reason I say, because, over a period of, I would say, from my master's days to now, so it's almost 41 years. And I have seen that, many a times you have to underplay yourself. But now time has come to change that situation and not underplay and be vocal about what you can do. So with that, and even at CDMC, that is Center for Development Management and Communication at MICA, we are training so many professionals, development sector professional, on doing this, understanding, the role of partnership, understanding the role of social impact, and also communicating that in a right way, where, we all are part of that journey, where we are bringing the shift, a paradigm shift from where we were few years ago. Now with CSR in Companies Act being mandate and everything, that has a kind of fuel the process. And because of that, there is a pace has moved little further, or say faster. But now, if we see CSR and sustainability, because I see that many professionals or many participants are also from that field, and many of panelists, that the world is now looking at more equitable, inclusive workplace, society, people with that we work with. And the things that took, say, 20 years to move, now because of that effect, a snowball effect, we will see fast moving changes. But what we have to do and make sure that those are lasting change and sustainable changes. And that's why we have to invest more and more in stakeholders, be it women stakeholders or the counterpart, because even counterpart has to a kind of adjust to the fact that what is happening. I'll just share a quick story that, one of the women's group in one site was doing wonderful job of, starting their business, and they were providing tiffin services to workers from the industry. And, they could do it from home, but their success was not a kind of digested well by their husbands. So they started putting more and more pressure that aap log bahar nahi ja sakte, you cannot do that, you can't do that, we will do that. And strategically, we had to help out that, okay, give them the responsibility, buying things in bulk, can men do it? So they become a part. So it was a reverse role that we had to do. Earlier, we needed to make women part. Here, to digest women's success, we had to give some extra responsibility to their better halves, so that they feel that they are part of this process or part of the growth that they were seeing. So with that, I'm going to start the next round, and I urge all the audience or people who are there as participants, please note down your questions. So when we start our question answer session, you can ask. So second round, we quickly answer. So I'm going to pose one question and I would ask each one of you to give. So there are things that please share one most striking example where you or your organization have targeted women and have faced either a failure in the beginning or reaped benefit like anything in the beginning itself. So it could be, because what I believe is that these are the forums or networking forums where we don't only learn from the best practices. We learn a lot from the failure, what not to do and how to tweak something that didn't work somewhere else, so that we don't have to kind of reinvent the wheels, make the same mistakes. So feel free to say that, something that didn't work and how you tweak that to make it work, or something really worked, kind of best practices when you have worked with women-centric program with inclusivity, be it gender, or here I would also add, the person with disability or person with difference, that worked or didn't work. So here, let's start with Dipti first, and then quickly we will move the same question. So Dipti, if you can unmute yourself and respond. I think Dipti logged off. So may I go to Anaga?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think one interesting example that I must mention here, which I just visited last week, one of our projects in Vidarbha, Maharashtra at Chandrapur. This is an interesting example of Women Federation, which started off few years back and then it fizzled. We, made a lot of efforts, but finally it got rebuilt with the efforts of local women. And today, we are standing strong. In fact, the Women Federation is standing strong in themselves in creating a very, very sustainable solution to resolve the pressing needs, community needs in sanitation, housing, and livelihood.
Anaga,
Yeah.
may I stop? I think there is a in question and answer session. Someone has mentioned or requested that please Hindi में बोलिए ना. तो
Okay.
if you can,
Okay.
आप
Sure.
अगर दो भाषा में साथ साथ बात कर सकते हैं. Thank
Sure.
you so much.
तो
I just looked at that comment, so I'm sorry. Up till now हम लोगों ने बहुत हिंदी में बात नहीं की है, मगर हम लोग हिंदी में बात करने की कोशिश करेंगे.
Definitely.
Or maybe dual language.
तो मैं कह रही थी कि हमारा एक प्रोजेक्ट है विदर्भ चंद्रपुर में, विदर्भ महाराष्ट्र में, जहाँ पे विमेन फेडरेशन फॉर्म हुआ, वो फिजल हुआ, वो टूट गया किसी कारण, एंड देन अगेन रीबिल्ड किया लोकल लोगों ने, लोकल विमेन ने. और आज जहाँ पे हम खड़े हैं वो बहुत प्राउड फील करते हैं कि ये एक फेडरेशन है जिन्होंने बहुत अच्छा सस्टेनेबल सॉल्यूशन बनाया है, जिससे आप कम्युनिटी की नीड्स खुद विदाउट एनी एक्सटर्नल सपोर्ट आप रिजॉल्व कर सकते हैं. और उन्होंने दिखाया है कि किस तरीके से कंप्लीट सैनिटेशन का जो इश्यू है वो ओडीएफ बनाने का कम्युनिटी को, हाउसिंग का जो इश्यू है और लाइवलीहुड प्रमोशन, वो उन्होंने एक्चुअली रिवॉल्विंग फंड का कॉन्सेप्ट यूज करके, विच इज विद बहुत मिनिमल एक्सटर्नल सपोर्ट के साथ उन्होंने वो एग्जाम्पल क्रिएट किया है. और ये एविडेंस बनाया है कि जब विमेन इन्वॉल्व होती है कोई भी इशू रिजॉल्व करने में, तो 100% पे बैक पॉसिबल है with a minimal support from external ecosystem. I think as an organization we are extremely proud. हमें बहुत बहुत प्राउड फील करते हैं कि इस तरीके से अगर हम देखेंगे हर एक इशू को, तो इतना बड़ा इशू भी एट कम्युनिटी लेवल हम सोल्यूशन उसका ढूंढ पाएंगे.
मैं आपसे पूरी सहमत हूँ. आई एम एब्सोल्युटली अग्रीइंग विथ यू, बिकॉज आई हैड सीन वन डेयरी which was defunct near Vadodara area, and then women got involved and a kind of took reins in their hand. Women, that dairy became not only at par but profit making, and because of that the women members were part of the the dairy board also.
Right.
So now I see Dipti is back with us. So Dipti, you have heard the question. I will come to you if you can share some or your experience or some anecdotes.
Yes, sorry about that. Technology completely failed me right now. So one of the examples I wanted to share is, again, talking about sport. About 8 years back,
दीप्ति, आप बीच में अगर थोड़ा हिंदी भी बोले, because there are couple of requests that they wanted to use Hindi.
ठीक है, I will try to speak my Hindi and communicate what I want to say. तो 8 साल पहले हमने एक स्कॉलरशिप दिया था रानी रामपाल को, एंड रानी रामपाल हरियाणा से है, और हरियाणा में हमें पता है कि ये फीमेल इन्फेंटिसाइड रेशियो, इट वाज सच अ बिग प्रॉब्लम, एंड शी वाज अ कार्ट पुलर्स डॉटर, एंड दिस Olympics, आप सब ने देखा रानी रामपाल, the captain of the Indian women's hockey team. It's taken 10 years, but that small scholarship at that age has actually even turned around how parents look at sport today. And if you see the maximum number of athletes, female athletes also coming out, are from regions like Haryana, which are from complete rural areas. So not just has Rani Rampal become the member who's taking care of her entire family, she's the breadwinner of a family, but also she has become a role model for India. So jab aap sports ko dekhte hain, it's very important to remember that it is a long drawn process. Ek saal mein we cannot do anything. It's a 8-year 10-year cycle to become an Olympian. Even qualifying to the Olympics is a very long process. Sometimes when a medal happens, itne log aa jate hain award dene ke liye, 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crores. You look at all the medalists, everybody wants to be part of that thing. But if that same amount, even 10% of that money comes back to the development of these athletes, India is going to have so many more champions and so many more role models for all of us, and also help our communities. And everyone knows, when we talk about sport, irrespective of whether you become a champion or not, the lessons that you learn in sport will remain for the rest of your life. Whether you're talking about crime, whether you're talking about creating goals, jo bhi hai, there are so many other things that you can actually keep in mind when you talk about sport. So really, I think learnings is that if you want to invest in sport, please keep time. It's not a 1-year program. When you support the athlete, whether male or female, you're helping the entire community, and you're also giving them a livelihood through sport. Just like how you do education, using education, we are using sport as that vehicle. So our learnings have really been invest the funds from a time perspective and not from a mini outcome of 1 medal or 2 medals, because that can never be an outcome for an athlete. Because
that's great. And I would say here, because I also heard something on health and nutrition, if we want more sports personalities to come out and we want more medals, we have to invest also in nutrition, health and nutrition of our young children. So, I think many of the organization, including what Kanika said and Adani Foundation, I can say for sure that life cycle approach towards health and nutrition, where you are making sure that kids grow to their potential as far as good health and nutrition is concerned. So investing in that is very important too. So now we come back to Seema and then Kanika with the same question. Please share anecdotal experience about failures or a great success.
Sure. So I'll speak in Hindi, but because I'm in Maharashtra, मतलब मुंबई से तो थोड़ा सा स्ट्रीट हिंदी होगा, but I'll try my level best to speak in like a decent हिंदी. तो महाराष्ट्र के एक गांव में हमारा वाटर कंजर्वेशन प्रोजेक्ट है, जहाँ पे लाइक टिपिकली होता है कि हमें पता है कि why we need women in all our project stage for a success. बट क्या हुआ था शुरुआत में गांव का जो एक्सेप्टेंस लेवल था टू इन्वॉल्व विमेन इन डिजाइनिंग प्लानिंग स्टेज थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट हो रहा था. सो बट वी थॉट कि वो दे विल लर्न देयर लेसन ऑन देयर ओन, हम जाके इम्पोज नहीं करेंगे, एंड वी आर वेरी श्योर कि वो लोग खुद ही आके ये दे विल एनकरेज दैट. तो उस गांव में हम लोग जितना भी इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे थे, जितना भी डोनेट हम लोग कर रहे थे वाटर स्ट्रक्चर्स पे, उसका कहीं पे ना कॉस्ट एफिशिएंसी हमको नहीं आ रही थी फ्रॉम रिटर्न पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. जितना हम लोग प्रोडक्टिविटी हम लोग सोच रहे थे कि इतनी फार्म प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ेगी, वो आ नहीं रही थी. और ये सारे जो नंबर्स थे वो गांव से ही आ रहे थे, वो मतलब हमने कोई एजेंसी को नहीं हायर किया था, गांव से आ रहे थे. सो कुछ सालों में, कुछ महीनों में देन वी थॉट कि यही अभी टाइम है कि उनको एक्चुअल नंबर्स हम लोग बताएंगे कि नंबर्स क्यों नहीं आ रहे थे. So then we had a couple of discussions with entire like of villages, जिसमें हमने औरतों को भी इन्वॉल्व किया, और उसमें कुछ इंडिकेटर्स थे जो सिर्फ औरतों को ही पता थे. जैसे कि अगर यहाँ पे ये कोई पंप अगर है तो वो पंप डीजल का होना चाहिए कि सोलर का होना चाहिए. सोलर पे होगा तो कितना प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ेगा, डीजल पे होगा तो कितना प्रोडक्टिविटी नहीं होगा. या फिर अगर वाटर स्ट्रक्चर है तो यहाँ पे फार्म पाउंड होना चाहिए कि यहाँ पे सीमेंट नाला बंद होना चाहिए. ये उस गांव की औरत को पता था, बिकॉज वो है जो इतना किलोमीटर चल के आती है, उसके पाँव से. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, ये हमारा भी एक्सपीरियंस है, जितना जियो हाइड्रोलॉजिस्ट स्टडी से हमको जितना रियल पिक्चर, रियल डेटा हमको समझ में नहीं आया कि वहां पे स्ट्रक्चर करना चाहिए, उतना एक आई रिमेम्बर दिस लेडी 67 ईयर्स, और एक वहां पे एक बुजुर्ग महिला थी, उन्होंने हमें बताया था, हम गांव को बताया था कि यहाँ पे पॉन्ड मत बनाओ, यहाँ पे आप कितने भी खड्डे बनाओगे कोई पानी नहीं जमा होने वाला है करके, आप यहाँ पे ये करो करके. सो ये जब शुरुआत हमने की, सो देन हमने गाँव